You're listening to the RE Social Podcast with your hosts, Andrew and Vince from OnV Invest. For more information, go to onvinvest.com.
RE Social, we're going to talk about financial education.
Yeah, and the reason why we're doing this podcast, why we're doing this video, why we're doing, all this content is to try to educate and change the lives of our friends and family, just as ours have already been changed by just what little assets we have. We've got 30 units under management. I mean, if we do nothing else, the rest of our lives are kind of set, for living pretty well. Of course, we're not looking to stop anytime soon, especially with all this accumulated knowledge that we've had. Some of it the easy way through books and mentorship, a lot of it the hard way through taking our bruises on our first couple of deals. And so the point of this podcast is to educate you on what assets are, your options, what we're doing, and how we're able to maybe even work together in terms of building wealth. So, Vince?
Yeah, so we will start off with the basics, right? So what are assets? What are liabilities? As such. So, Drew, let's ask you, what do you think are some assets?
Assets? Assets is anything
in your life. Give me your life.
In my personal life?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I've got a Roth that I max out, and so that's good. Something. That's kind of like number one is that, and that I basically take and I invest in ETFs. Then I have like an app, an investment app, which I do the exact same thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but without the Roth side of it. So I do that where I'm basically always throwing money in that. So I'm throwing it in the market at all times. So stocks, essentially, ETFs. And then there's just no such thing as a savings account anymore that's worth a darn. So it's not even if it pays 1%, I don't consider it an asset.
You could say cash is an asset if you're going to use it.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Okay. In that case, so there's cash. There's
only if you're going to buy assets with it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's now a liability.
Yeah. Totally.
That's what I was going to add.
And then essentially everything else is dumped into our real estate ventures, be it through repairs, EMDs, deposits, whatever we got to do to keep this ball moving forward.
Yeah, that's true. So he explained what assets are in his life, right? So Drew, so for me, same thing. I work for company, so got money in 401k and Roth IRA and bunch of stocks with my previous company I worked for and such, right? So, but we also have real estate together. But the biggest asset I have in real estate is with OnV is you, for me. Right. So for me, I do certain things for the company and Drew does certain things. And I hate doing the things Drew does. So for me, my biggest investment with time, money, and spreading the wealth I have is with Drew. But because I think long term, he will be the biggest asset for me because he can help me manage all of the units because we will have hundreds of units in the next few years, right?
Yeah.
So that is one of the things. And then other than that, the general ones are real estate, stocks, either you do IRA, 401k, crypto. If you ask my buddy Kevin, he's probably going to say crypto because he quit his job using that. So that's kind of cool. It's a little tricky. You want to talk to more smarter people than us in the field of crypto. Maybe we'll get him on here. He'll probably talk.
That'd be cool.
Hey, Kev, you better come talk with us. He said he will. And then gold, is considered an asset too because it doesn't go down in value. Pretty much anything that gives you money back and goes up in value, that's considered an asset. Now, a primary residence house, some people say it's an asset, some people say it's a liability, right? So it depends. We think it's an asset if you're not paying humongous amounts in terms of monthly payments that you cannot afford. Then it's a liability for you.
And especially where we live, the appreciation on that's going to be...
we have 28 homes together and we don't own a personal residence, right? We will probably buy it next year.
Yeah, buy next year.
Yeah. So then liabilities wise, what are liabilities? Liabilities are stuff that takes money out of your pocket to maintain that. So if you have fancy clothes, you only wear Nike shoes, and that's a liability. If you constantly buy thousands of dollars worth of shoes, clothes every month, watches,
cars,
expensive restaurants that you can't afford because you want to impress your date. I take my dates to $5 Taco Mesa. If she says, "Oh, I don't like this," that's not a good date. She's not good, right? So so you want to have things that you don't have to spend money on to impress people who also don't have freaking money. That's our biggest point. Like all the guys who are trying to impress us with money have no money. That's the one thing that is a common denominator with everybody, right?
Yeah.
People don't have money, want to impress people with money. Like I don't care. Like I will wear toned jeans and things like that. So those are the difference between like assets and liabilities, right? So we want to talk about how to get access to some of the assets in life, however you can get it through, like either like you put money in your 401k or your IRA. I'll go into that a little bit. But the main denominator that we wanted to talk about is actually getting yourself educated how money works, how inflation works, and how currency and everything works. If you don't understand finances, there's nothing anybody can do. That's why if you see most athletes are always broke, right?
Yeah, after 5 years, they're on average they're back to where they started. Lottery winners,
they go broke because they don't understand it, right? So that's why trust fund babies or trust fund babies. Do you guys know what trust fund babies are? Trust fund babies are set up in such a way that they cannot go broke because the trust only pays them certain amount of money every month. Because the parents figured out that their freaking children are garbage and they will spend it all. So they actually put it in a security like a trust, and it'll only give them certain amount of money till they reach a certain age. Right. So that's what that is. So if you don't get financially educated, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you will always be poor. Anything you want to add, Drew?
Yeah, it's funny. I listen to all kinds of speakers and books and stuff. I can't remember who it was. I've heard it crossed a couple, it's been passed back and forth between these, multi-millionaire, self-made, these business gurus such as Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, whatever, these bigger pockets. But they were talking about how a lot of them don't want to leave a lot for their children or for their kin. Which was like, at first it's like, that's so selfish. But then they're like, well, I'm giving a lot of it to, some kind of charity that they believe in. And what they're doing is they're actually giving their children financial wisdom, financial education, which is kind of the point of what we're trying to do here. I came from nothing myself, and the second I started learning about financial education, things started to change for me personally. And then, of course, meeting Benson and doing this real estate stuff, it's just catapulted to a whole different level. So it's just interesting, just to comment on that, the trust fund thing. I've personally met those people, and they just, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying, all I'm saying is it didn't seem to help them too much as being a good person, as being a successful person, as being a fulfilled person, which I think is the whole point. What it did is just kind of made them take money for granted and take financial wisdom for granted. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in just educating yourself in general, but especially on things that are going to change your life and maybe your children's life, which is, again, coming back to financial education. Whether you like it or not, whether, it sounds sexy to you or not, it doesn't matter. You don't have a choice. It's either educate yourself, listen to podcasts like this, get involved in real estate or stocks or assets, and that's the only true way to leave a legacy, to take care of your children, to sleep at night, and not have to worry about those things. So let's talk a little bit in detail about what we're trying to get across. Is you guys have probably heard about this saying where they say you can't work for money. Working for money is not a good deal. You want the money to work for you. So what does that mean? What that means is so I have a W-2 job. I'm an engineer, right? I have a master's degree in engineering, make a lot of inventions for my company, and I get paid pretty decent. It's a pretty good company. I love working with the people I work with, but it does not really bring me wealth. Why? Because if I stop working, I'm immediately back to poor because I don't have any money coming in, right? So that is, I'm trading my life for time, for income, right? So that's most people. That's the entire life, right? That's pretty much like a hooker, right? You just trade the time for money. That's what you are. You just I'm a very expensive hooker, so I like to
think of, right? So once I get off the post, I'm not making any more money. I need to go back, right? So I can't do it. What I want to do is I want to be the pimp. I want to own all of the strippers and the club that owns it, right? So that's if you can own stuff, if you can have equity in things, that's what actually makes you wealthy, right? When people say, "Oh, we are in real estate," and then they're like, "I'm a realtor." Yeah, you're not a real estate. You just have a job. You're poor too. It doesn't matter, right? If you have a brokerage and then people work for you under the brokerage and you generate income, then that's a little bit of an asset, right? But if you just work for something and then just gives you transactional money, it's not a good deal. So I don't like to do anything transactional. In fact, all of our deals are long-term holds. We've never sold anything yet. And because I like to spend my time to get equity in millions of dollars of real estate, which we have, right? I don't care about making $10 or $20 or $100 or thousands of dollars in terms of commission or something like that.
Yeah,
I want to get
flip. We're not interested in flips.
Yeah,
and all that.
that's why people ask us, like, are you doing flips? People who do flips, they're not in real estate. They just have a job. It doesn't matter. Once they stop flipping, they're back to being poor. In fact, Tal Yarber, one of our guys from Bigger Pockets, he has a fixated real estate, I believe his company is called, and he likes to call himself as recovering a flipper. So he actually did 600 flips.
Oh my god!
And then he just realized a couple of years back that he's kind of
missing out on the bigger picture.
Yeah, so now he's doing some bursts. He holds some of the properties, But because once you keep flipping, do you guys follow what I'm saying? You follow, right?
Yeah, short term.
If you keep making money and then you don't invest that money to buy assets that brings you more money, you have to keep making money. Otherwise, you won't have any money.
Yeah,
that's how it works. So that's my big rant on working for money versus making the money work for you. Now I'm not against working in a job and stuff. I still work in a job. I really like it. It's a really good career, right? But I'm not going to do it till I'm 65. Do you guys know what an average 401k after you work for 40 years from 25 to 65 that people have, Americans? What was your guess?
I think I guessed 60.
He gets 60, right? Which is actually true. The median is only $58,000, and the average is trumped up high because some people save a lot more, right? So that's 193. Well, let's just go with the average, right? Mm-hmm. You're telling me that you work for your entire life and you have $200,000 saved? That's a joke. Like, if you gave me $200,000 after 40 years, I'll just give it back to you. Yep. In fact, this is not even a false advertisement, because how much did Momskis have?
I was literally just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
We partnered with my mom on a duplex out in the IE, and took her, her whole life, and she did a great job. She raised, a bunch of crazy boys, and then, was able to save $150K.
Yeah, something like that.
By the time she retired around 59. And bravo to her, but that's officially, let's just start it off and call it what it is. That's dying money. That money is just, it is what it is. It's not making a ton of interest. I think she had a little bit of it in some stocks.
It's all in stocks, so it's
right.
better than nothing.
It's better than
right?
nothing. But it wasn't. It's not going to sustain what she wants. It's not going to give her the lifestyle that she wants, and so. We've taken a chunk of that. We put it in some real estate. She partnered with us. We went 50-50 on it, fixed it all up, got great tenants in there. And it appreciated in 6 months, $70K?
Yeah. Yeah, we bought it for $530, $610 or something like that. Whatever. Like, she's put in that much money and she's already got that much money, right?
If nothing else changes, let's just say it, if nothing else changes, in 1 year's time, that amount will have been made. 150K will have essentially been made in 1 year's time. Now, of course, sure, we're partnering and we're splitting all that up, so you can argue that. So maybe it's 2 years, okay? But still, let's just say
it's 5 years.
Let's say it's 5 years. Sure, that's what I was going to say. Let's just be conservative. Say it took 5 years, right? That's still an incredible difference on 60 years of working at a job that she didn't like, stressing about money the whole way and just trying to make it happen with, like I said, a bunch of crazy boys. Bless her heart.
Now, I want you guys to understand something. Maybe you can make a sound bite of this, right?
Sure.
So I want to make you guys understand where leverage comes into play, inflation comes into play, and how I'm going to talk about stocks and tie it up to real estate and say why it's better, right? So stocks go up on average. If you do S&P 500, you're talking 6 to 8%. Let's say 7%. Let's say 8%, right? Let's say 8%. You put 100 grand, you get 8 grand, and then the 108 grand goes by 8 grand. So it goes up compounding like that, right? So now, but to buy $100,000 of stock, how much money do we need to buy $100,000 of stock?
$100,000.
We need freaking $100,000 to buy $100,000 worth of stock, right? Now, the same thing, let's say we go buy $100,000 of real estate. How much do you need if it's an investment property?
Probably $20K.
$20K, you can buy a single family, 20% down, right? So now you've only invested $20,000. Now, this is really important. You might want to rewind this and listen to it again. You only put in $20,000. You bought an asset for $100,000. Remember, with the stocks, you put $100,000, right? Now, the property is going to appreciate. Now, is it going to appreciate 5% of $20,000?
Is it going to appreciate on the $20K you put down? Or is it going to be appreciating on the $100,000 that it's valued at?
Right? So it's going to appreciate at the $100,000.
$100,000. That's called leverage.
So now what you did was you borrowed somebody else's money. You went and bought an asset. You're controlling it for $100,000, and then it went up by 5%, right? So in 5 years, even if it's just simple, you're looking at 4 years, you're looking at 20,000, 5 years, 25,000, right? So in 5 years or 4 years, you have taken your entire money. So that's not 5% a year. That's 100% return in like just 4 years, right? So it's 25% a year. Mm-hmm. That is crazy. So you cannot do that if you bought, stocks. You can only buy as much as you can, right? Now we have a few $1 million of real estate, and we appreciate close to $200,000 a year because we have so many assets, right? We don't have a lot, but even for us, we're going up so much. I don't make $200,000 working full time at my W-2 job for the entire year.
I took a master's degree to
and I'm not talking about like, oh, Vince works at Walmart making $30K. No, we make more than twice what an average household makes in the US, and we are still so poor, it is ridiculous. And then that's when I get really annoyed when people come and tell me like, oh, after $75,000 there is no more happiness to be found. You know what? I found about all these people who tell me that they make less than $75,000. That's why I'm like, dude, why are you giving me advice? You're poor. Like, you shouldn't even talk to me. Like, you get out of here, right?
Yeah.
So the point is, you can leverage money and use inflation to help you on the leverage asset, because the asset value is going to go up, right? Yeah. So what is the point of all this? Am I saying that don't put money in 401k, don't buy any stocks? No, I'm not saying that at all. In fact, my company matches 2,000. Like, let's say I make 100k and then they match 2%, right? So that means if I put $2,000, they're going to give me $2,000 for free. So now, do I do that? Yeah, of course, do that. It's freaking free money in your hands, right? Now, my company is talking about making a Roth 401k thing, which is actually really cool, actually starting in January. So I can actually dump $20,000 into my Roth. That actually grows tax-free. That is pretty good. I do like that. Yeah. And then I can also borrow $50,000, pay it back in 5 years, and I can borrow $50,000 again.
That's cool.
So there's some benefits, but that's not going to make me wealthy. Yeah. Like, I'm going to come out with $250,000 when I'm 65. Right. There's no way I'm working till 65.
Right. Especially even if you're at 60, let's just say you're at 65 years old, with just conservative inflation, what $250,000 will get you? What, a cup of coffee?
I could probably survive 2 years, to be honest. With that,
yeah,
right?
It's crazy.
It's like,
so I guess, to the point is comparing assets to liabilities. Assets is building wealth. Liabilities is taking away from the wealth. As simple as that. And there's so many different ways to consider what is an asset, different ways to invest. And to wrap, we've done all kinds of reading, especially Vince. He's like a super nerd for everything finance. And without question, real estate has delivered us already, just in the few years we've been doing it, way better results than anything else that we've done. From crypto to gold to,
I did throw in
ETFs.
4 G's of money into crypto.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the crypto game.
I think it's worth 7 G's actually right now. But
that's cool.
It's not really something we understand that much, but we know people who do. So if we have more play money, we will throw some money at it.
That's another thing that I like about. So we just went to Vegas for Vince's birthday, and my game is Blackjack, and I was teaching some friends blackjack. I remember on the way to the table, they're asking me, well, why blackjack? I hear, it's about roulette. I was like, yeah. Some people are like really into slots. Like, slots is the way to go. My friend won like $1,000. Yeah. So the thing is, blackjack, I have control. I like that if I have basic knowledge of statistics, basic knowledge of when to double down, hit, whatever I'm saying, I have more of a chance of winning. I like that element of control. Plus, it's fun for me. In the exact same way, that's the way I look at real estate, that we have control. I read another book, which I just finished the short-term.
Every call,
rental.
shout out to you.
Yeah, really good book, short-term and rentals. Like Airbnb stuff. Anyways, just picked up so much from that. It actually answered a lot of questions that I kind of had and some I didn't even know I had. And so every time I read a book, I get more control. I know my stuff even better. And so I'm guaranteeing our success financially even more so. And that's what I really like about real estate. And then, you know what? I was up at a property we're in escrow in right now, about to close. I was up there twice this week. I like that. I can go up, I can see it, I can touch it. There's a problem. Worst case scenario, I can go up and take care of it. I don't need to do that stuff at this point, but I like it. And I kind of like to just, at least early in a deal, I like to see it, know the area, know what's happening. Granted, we're doing, again, a short-term rental play on it. So there's a different element of investment for me.
You have to do that one.
Yeah. Getting to know the area, getting to know, I'm writing down like the best cafe, so there's things that there's an extra element going into it, but I love all that stuff. And so again, the point is this is an incredible asset, and it's going to be eventually quite passive. But regardless, it's just, there's so many benefits on real estate compared to other things, whether it's leveraging your money. The whole $100,000 example is perfect. It's brilliant. I mean, that leverage is just insane. It's insane it's even possible. And then there's, of course, the tax write-offs. If you're paying, taxes on your real estate income, you're probably going to need to fire your CPA.
Unless you're flipping.
Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're flipping, I get it. If it's long-term buying like we're doing, that's insane. And that maybe that's just another podcast for another time. There's the appreciation, which is just like incredible. That's the true wealth that's built on the back end of your deals, which is the appreciation. And where we're investing, they're going up like crazy. Even our worst deal, the deal that almost like ruined us and made us say, screw this real estate thing, has appreciated how much in
120,000 in 3 years.
In 3 years, yeah.
It's the worst deal you could buy, and it's I was gone up 120 grand.
Yeah,
that's more money than I make in 1 year of working my W2 job.
Yeah, so you can go pick a bad stock and get tanked, or maybe it flat lines or whatever. Maybe it goes up a little bit, and that's all the scenarios in stocks, right? But with real estate, it just always goes up. I mean, unless you really struck out and you found a town that is completely dying, which of course that's do your homework. But if you invest in real estate, majority of the time it's always going up. So you can be a complete idiot, mess up your first deal, and stay with it. And I personally, I don't know how much we've talked about this, but I've met some of the mom and pops that we've bought deals from, and who are sitting on tons of wealth, tons of capital, and who I wouldn't consider very bright, if I'm being completely honest. And that goes to show the power of real estate. You don't have to be the smartest guy to succeed with it. And that's part of the reason why it's my favorite asset class, is because, I can be a dumbass and still do well. Now, of course, I'm trying to educate myself.
Yeah, well,
to not be a dumbass.
I'll tell you this much, right? This is what people always trying to time the market. People who are trying to time the market, they don't have anything most of the time. Yeah. They're just trying to time. But even to play their game, they're like, I don't know if it crashes, right? The worst time to buy real estate in the history of the United States since the Great Depression was 2008, right? At that point, it was about a median home price was about $240,000, right? That was the median home price. Remember, you cannot time worse than this in the history of the United States. This is the worst time. Right now, the home prices are about $400,000 median. So if you would have hung on,
so if you would have hung on to all of that and just bared through the losses and not listened to your dumb uncles who told you to sell or get out, and just stayed with it, you actually would have, increased your wealth.
Now, there's a little bit trick to that. So when you're holding properties like that, you want to analyze your deal and make sure the cash flow actually covers the debt service, right? So then if you did your math right, then you can actually hold on to the property even though you didn't make any money for these a long time till the rents appreciate. But if you bought a property that's underwater, which means your rents are $1,000 but your monthly expenses is $1,500, then you're underwater by $500.
Right.
So that's not a good deal.
Yeah, so of course, like I said with the blackjack analogy, you got to know your numbers. You got to know what you're looking for. So there's that for sure. But it's definitely the best performing asset class without question, even barely knowing any of that stuff. As long as you're mindful of your income and knowing what you can cover, and you can just ride out the storms, it's just a matter of time before you're sitting on an immense amount of wealth. So I feel like we kind of covered a pretty good amount in terms of the differences between assets and liabilities. Vince, is there any last little talking point you want to?
No, I would say, if you guys are just getting started, or even if you're in the game for a little bit, you have a couple of deals, I would say, try to get as much educated as high as possible. Just spend a lot of time trying to get educated. So in fact, I'm actually flying to Orlando again. We were just there 2 weeks ago. I'm going back again for almost a week, and I'm actually hanging out with the top dogs in multifamily real estate because I'm a noob in that. We don't have anything multi-units like that. We spend a lot of money. So spending money on mentorship is something we recommend. I'm not spending $30,000, but I'm spending thousands of dollars. So, go spend time with people who know what they're talking about and fields you want to get involved. Don't get restricted to the people you work or hang out with. Just create your own circle.
Yeah, love it. All right, you guys. Well, I think that wraps this episode. Hopefully we've helped illuminate you guys in showing you a little bit of what we're doing, our opinions, and what hopefully will work for you in helping you to build your wealth in your portfolio. For any questions or comments, please go to onbeinvest.com. You can message us there, or you can DM us at our social media stuff. It is at onbeinvest. That's ANVI invest. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, and let's build some wealth together. Let's achieve financial freedom, baby.